Hey there, guys and gals. Welcome back to Backpocket Game Reviews. You can see two very ominously different boxes behind me. And a Doge. Hey. So, here in a second, we're about to talk about the pros and the cons and which one's truly better and so on and so forth. Keep in mind. Hey, Don. Hey, Anthony. Hey, Gaming Fire. To a certain degree, a lot of what we're going to talk about is subjective. Correct? We understand? Yes, subjective. Opinions. Oh my god. People have them. So, obviously, I got both day of release. We've got, and we're gonna flip the camera around here. So we got the Series X and we've got PS5 here. You have both because of your connections at Office Max. I strongly doubt that's how I have both. This guy came from Best Buy. This guy came from Amazon. And then my wife's PS5, which is all tucked back there, came from Walmart, the Wally World. So I played both consoles now since release. I've got different games for all of them. Well, Xbox Series X has the least new games at launch, and your PS5 has the most new games at launch, where you've got like Godfall or Miles Morales, Spider-Man. And over here, you've got pretty much the biggest glaring issue that I currently have. You can get a PS5 and you can buy Spider-Man Miles Morales for $40, and that does not come with the upgraded version of Marvel Spider-Man, the new game that they just released on the PS4 not that long ago. For $40, you get about 8 hours of gameplay. It was originally intended to be DLC, so I find it very shitty that they're pushing that as an exclusive when it's literally just DLC, and I feel that the upgraded Spider-Man should have been included at that cost. It's a Sony thing. If you want the upgraded version of Spider-Man on the PS5, that is the $70 version. I also find it very shitty that $70 is the price now for exclusives on the PlayStation, whereas on the Xbox, you are still looking at your $64 automatic change after tax. At least in Ohio, tax is different depending on your state. So, still the same price for games. Now, the only game I have upgraded over here, so the only game that was free to upgrade day one for enhancements was Borderlands. So you can see Sony didn't really put a lot into their back catalog. But over here, with my Game Pass, my Forza Horizon 4, my Gears of War 5, there are numerous others that already have those upgrades. There's several, I think there's probably like 6 or 7 games right now on Game Pass, which you have upgraded versions for over here. That's not to say that old PS4 games don't run decently well, or old Xbox One games don't run decently well. There is a noticeable difference between games that were upgraded for such. So in that category, I would strongly tell you the Xbox has performed better. I have more to play already on the Xbox without having to spend an additional dollar. Over here, Sony is very much so trying to take more away from you. Another thing I want to point out is the addition of haptic feedback on the new DualShock controller. And a lot of people are, oh, it's so cool. Like, I've watched fanboys literally try to bash online, like, Xbox didn't even change their controller. You're right, because the Xbox controller already had haptic feedback. And you'll notice that all of a sudden, Sony's controller looks a lot more like the Xbox controller. So that's very interesting to me that some of the features that Sony has implemented were already over here. It's kind of like your Android versus iPhone argument. Similar concept. I'm not fanboying over one or the other. I bought both. I've enjoyed both, and I've actually spent more time on my PS5 Mostly because I bought a new game on each so I could see like a full game. I bought Assassin's Creed Valhalla on the Xbox, and I bought Call of Duty and Sackboy's Big Adventure over here. Now, Sackboy's Big Adventure is $60. That didn't get the full $70 to get this game, which I don't know why. I guess they probably didn't have as much faith in it from a sales perspective. The one big addition that they did add on the DualShock that I do like is you'll notice this little button right here. You have a microphone down here, and I can actually hear people that I'm playing with straight through the controller, and that button's actually to mute your mic. So I have to hook up my headset if I don't want to. They also did away with, on the Pulse headset, I can plug directly in over here, and I don't have to download a separate app. It automatically manages all of that in the PlayStation software. Xbox just supports all your old accessories. Every single one. You can still use anything from the Xbox One generation over here. Sony, from what I hear, does mildly support it, but again, some of your features are gone. Your haptic feedback over here, too, is a lot more intense, and that's not always a good thing. You can turn it down, but there have been times where I have choked a little bit on pressing down on the trigger than what I anticipated, and it cost me. But, you know, part of the joy of having haptic feedbacks is sort of that engagement. So right now, if I had to tell you one of them impressed me more, it would be towards the Xbox. Even when you watch tech people break it down, there's a couple of YouTubers who've done like demos where it literally runs the same games at the same resolution, the same frame rates. The only issue you usually will see is the load time is like a second, literally 1 second shorter over here. So that's your only real distinguishing factors between the hardware. But over here with Game Pass, I'm getting a lot more to do day one, whereas over here, I didn't really get a lot of buffer on my back catalog. I got kind of a half-boiled new exclusive, and then Godfall, which I really wasn't interested in, just because if it's not Borderlands, I probably won't buy it from Gearbox, just because they're kind of a shitty company. So Borderlands does look phenomenal on the PlayStation 5. They're both great consoles. And honestly, the only thing I can tell you that might be the differentiator down the line between the two is probably the exclusives. So Sony might have different exclusives than Xbox. And right now, Xbox is very heavily invested in this next generation of exclusives. You've got a new Halo game coming out right after the first of the year. You've got new Gears of War in development. You've got new Forza games in development. And I'm not saying that you don't have a strong lineup over here as well, but Microsoft has went very far out of their way to buy a lot of new studios, specifically Bethesda, who's the developer of Psychonauts. But they've went out of their way to buy a lot of new studios, so you could see a huge shift in who has more exclusives. I don't know. It'll be very interesting to at least see how it all plays out. But, just personal opinion. With that being said, both of them play very well. It's not going to be an issue that you're going to run into. A lot of people do hate that Xbox has replaceable batteries. That's honestly probably one of my favorite things about it, seeing is that, well, I get about 6 to 7 hours out of my DualShock, if I'm lucky. On some AA's, I get like a week, maybe more, out of one of these. And I have a play and charge kit in there, so it usually lasts a lot longer than that. I can get usually a week off of one charge on an Xbox controller before having to recharge it, and that's off rechargeable batteries. And I get that those cost more, but over time, the battery in here is going to deteriorate. It's not going to hold a charge as well. So eventually I'm going to have to replace the controller, whereas over here I can just replace the battery. So there's pros and cons to each. And I've been asked several times, which one did I prefer? Which one would I recommend? A lot of it comes down to where your exclusive content lies. And right now, Microsoft, you have no idea what their exclusives are going to look like. So I get where that's also weird too. But Game Pass has probably been the thing that pushes me the most over towards Microsoft. $15 a month covers my online charge, whereas I still got to pay for PlayStation Plus with Sony. And then my games are now $70 a piece, whereas games are staying the same price. I get access day one to all Microsoft exclusives with Game Pass. So it's It's tricky. It's very tricky. It's not like as black and white as it usually is. It's not like I'm like, oh yeah, instantly just go buy this one. And I don't know. My favoritism lies slightly more towards Xbox right now. I've also had a couple issues with the PlayStation. A couple games have caused it to crash to the point of where the entire PlayStation has shut itself down. I've had to reformat the hard drive, because of which Call of Duty was the cause of all of that. I've also read that people have had that issue from Godfall, and there's a couple other issues that completely erase all of your save data from your PS4 games while trying to bring them over. So Xbox wasn't really my Xbox's fault. My wife started to vacuum the living room, and it blew a breaker in the living room. When the crispy that her PC and her PS5 are all on at one time, just blew a breaker. That was it. So yeah, so it comes like mine's came back on. I've heard some people have had theirs brick from it, but yes, it already has crashing issues. That's not unusual. Day one, there was a big old update for Call of Duty today, which I think might have been to fix that issue for Call of Duty. It is a software issue. It's not a hardware issue. So it's not like my system is overheating or anything like that. Both systems are extremely quiet. Like when I say the PS5 is noticeably quiet, this is from someone also coming from PS4 Pro. This sounded like a jet engine ready to take off. The PS5 gets maybe a little bit above a loud whisper. So, hi Melanie. Stream is lagging. Yeah, that doesn't shock me. It's the internet today. We'll watch the review by Review. Will you watch the review by Review Tech USA? Probably not. I don't really watch a lot of YouTube anymore. Very, very rare that I get to see much of it. What is up, Jeffy? Thanks for all the content, Nick. Thank you, Plant Bat. You're very welcome. I'll do what I can. I don't know. Watching the people bicker online about which is better is absolutely stupid to me. It literally comes down to a lot of preference. As I said, right now, if I had to pick one, I would probably went with the Xbox over the PlayStation, just due to some quality of life, like no crash issues. More games that were from prior gen got upgraded. And I'll tell you this, Forza is absolutely gorgeous on a Series X. Forza Horizon 4 is like probably the prettiest next-gen game I have seen, which should be seeing as that it's a racing game. Those are usually the best-looking games. Call of Duty looks really good. Little Big Planet, Sackboy's Adventure. I shouldn't call it Little Big Planet. It's literally Sackboy's Adventure, or Sackboy's Big Adventure, or something like that. That looks really good as well. It's a lot of fun. It is very much so a Nintendo-ish game out of Sony, and I'm saying that because it's a platformer, but also because it takes a lot of cutesy nods, which is kind of a Nintendo thing. And then you've got Astro's Playroom, which is a free kind of tech demo. I streamed it, for those of you who didn't see it, off the PlayStation, and it's fun. It is a lot of fun, and it is more or less just a tech demo to show you the new features of the controller. I will probably be streaming some Call of Duty a little bit later. I won't be streaming for too long. Today is the last day of my vacation, so But I felt like this was going to be the best way of doing like a review of the two consoles. This is honestly the weakest console launch lineup out of any system launch I've ever seen, and a lot of that has to do with COVID. There were games that were supposed to be ready, but things get delayed. You were supposed to have right out of the gate Cyberpunk was going to be available. That got pushed back. So that wasn't like a system exclusive, but that would have been a huge mover. You are playing a superior version of a game that was also going to release on last gen, and it's hard to really start it as last gen because a lot of the games are still supported. Like I was playing Call of Duty just now on the PS5 with one of my friends and supporters that is also on an Xbox One. So it's the lines have been blurred by the generations as well.
You should put your phone like up there. No, just like set it on something and talk.
Set it on something. My wife has to dictate how I do my stream, right? So
There you go.
At the same, I feel like the ease of use, though, is probably a little better on the Xbox. And the reason why I'm pointing to my right is because it's over on this side of my TV stand. Right out of the box, there's no stand. You have to plug in either the Sony stand. I will tell you that I watched a video on how that worked. I've watched several unboxings on both consoles, but there are a lot of people who've had some issues figuring out the PlayStation stand, and mine's even slid off of it once, and it's secured pretty well. So Xbox's stand is built right into the bottom, so if you stand it up, it's already there, or there's rubber feet on the other end for you to put it on that way. So I think no matter which one you choose, both are a great option. I don't feel like anything where you have to like run out and go buy it right now unless you want those enhanced graphics, you want those better frame rates. And I will tell you, it is noticeable. Like a good example was I played Fortnite on both of them. It is very noticeable how different Fortnite looks from its last generation. Your draw distance is much further. The fluidity of your movement due to the frame is much smoother. Just everything in general, Fortnite, you notice a huge difference from last gen. So I upgraded my PC recently. Yeah, I mean, we've got a gaming PC over here too. It just doesn't ever play games. One of the games I was most excited for with next gen over here was Vampire Masquerades 2, which I still don't have. It got pushed back until 2021. So I'll have Far Cry, Vampire Masquerades, and Halo, and a bunch of others coming out next year that I'm really excited to get to play on these. And obviously, me, the hard part is I will always now have to buy a PlayStation right out the gate, just because it allows YouTube streaming. One of the things I anticipated for Xbox to add, especially with the death of Mixer, like at least add that option for YouTube to be a plausible streaming platform on your device. But nope, now it's just Twitch. You have your option of Twitch. And let me get a capture card. Then you can stream whatever you want, but I don't have that ease of access. I can't just come down, sit down, press a button, or get off work, press a button, and boom, be live. I have to then have a whole setup or area dedicated to it, which is very hard for someone who works 50 plus hours a week every single week. So I don't want to come home and set it up. I want to just be able to come home, press a button, have it be on and ready to go. Both of them redid their apps. So you've got a new app on PlayStation. You don't have to have the two other apps for messages and communities. Community's pretty much been killed off, unfortunately. But you've got two new apps. You can buy stuff, have them instantly start downloading without you being home. Xbox has already kind of had that feature, but Xbox's is also more so you can have their newer features, like being able to stream a game directly from your Xbox over to your phone. So, do you have any questions about them? This is the part where you get to ask me what's your questions here. What do you want to know about them? Is that why you don't post as many videos anymore? Yes, I work 55 hours a week, every week. That is my minimum amount of hours as a general manager for the company I went to that I'm able to work. So yeah, I get home a lot of times. There's weeks that I've worked a lot more than that. And every time that I'm usually like, all right, we're gonna kick back into YouTube this week. That's kind of why I took this week off with the two new consoles, was to kind of jumpstart me being back to YouTube. And most of it's probably going to be streams, which start off as like a video. So like if you go back and watch the beginning of the stream, it plays through like one of my videos, with the back half being kind of like a questions and answers portion of it, or just being able to answer anything else that you might have had. So it also lets me, in case I'm forgetting something, lets one of you guys potentially ask the question I'm forgetting. And God knows I forget a lot these days. Good work ethic, my guy. Yeah. Yeah, I'm a bit tired. I wasn't this week. This week was fantastic. This is the first, I have 3-day weekends here and there. But this is the first time I've actually used like a chunk of PTO in one go. So is PS4 data transfer really that buggy? I didn't do an actual data transfer, so I didn't transfer any of my save games. There's nothing where I'm like, God, I have to have that save content that isn't kind of cloud uploaded. So like when you look at Grand Theft Auto, that's all saved to the cloud. Like none of that's something that's saved to a point where I have to be concerned. My save is out there in the cloud automatically, not through PlayStation, but through Rockstar. Or when you look at like Destiny, no matter what, my Destiny service or my Destiny content will always be there, and my saves through Bungie. So I didn't do the transfer process. I just wiped my PlayStation and sold it GameStop. Yep. Go ahead and dwell on that. For like $220 out of my PS4 Pro, 2 controllers, and the PlayStation Gold headset. So,
Yeah, the camera.
at their website saying they did. The guy assured me he couldn't find it. So. Sony does have a game share for PS5. I sent an article about. Yes, I know. We set it up. I had that set up pretty much day one. Walked her through how to do it. I Googled it, obviously. I knew there was going to be one. I just didn't know how easy they were going to make it and what features they were going to allow through it. But we were playing Call of Duty earlier together today, and I only bought 1 copy of Call of Duty. See, that's a big reason why I'm okay with going digital, is if I can buy 1 copy of the game, it works better. I'm saving money through it.
A lot of money.
Yeah, a lot of money. That'd be $120 for, bought that many, well, like $130 after tax. But then what, if I would have traded them in at GameStop, I might have maybe made, if I sold them early, back like $60. So it's not worth it. I'd rather spend $60 once than just. But say bye-bye to PS5 for system transfer. Yeah, I didn't play PT.
Is there a difference between the two for game backwards compatibility?
Yes and no. Xbox allows compatibility all the way back. So you've got a brand new user interface on the PlayStation. Whole new operating system. Xbox is running the same operating system, so everything you played last gen and everything on your 360, all the support category, but you have games from all of those categories that now work. So the same backwards compatibility that Xbox had last gen is still there. It's literally just running Windows. It's just a different version of Windows that runs on the Xbox. So backwards compatibility is a little bit better on the Xbox One. Both of them just let me unplug my hard drives from each console and plug them in, and all of my last gen games were there. Keep in mind, new gen cannot save to an external hard drive. They have to be on an SSD or they will not run correctly. Yeah, right. Xbox, all my saves worked straight from the cloud. PlayStation, from what I hear, their cloud saves just, it didn't want to go. I've not heard a single person tell me they've been able to complete that successfully. So almost everyone's had to manually either take their saves through like a flash drive or through transfer over the network, which they do support. You can hook up both consoles, do a transfer from one to the other while you're in the setup process. So I didn't have that issue. I just care about any of the saves. I mean, I lose a Skyrim save. Oh God, it's not like I'm not going to replay Skyrim at some point. Jesus Christ, played that game too many times.
It froze on a funny thing.
Froze?
On a funny thing.
Oh, then it started back up again.
Yeah.
Good old buffering. I feel like you're getting the comments quicker than I am. Sucks you can't use external drives. Well, you can. It's just for last gen stuff. And at some point, new external drives. So Xbox already has one out that you can literally plug into the back of the system. They have a proprietary slot, and you can go buy this proprietary extra 1 terabyte right now of storage for your Xbox. It's $220, which is a lot, but it's also an NVMe. It's a very specific modified NVMe for the Xbox because again, they used a custom SSD just like PlayStation did. PlayStation said down the line there will be portable hard drives that will work for the PlayStation. Xbox has them day one already. So if they release Skyrim again on the new consoles, I'm going to buy it.
You would. You bought it like 500 times.
Could you imagine if they fully remastered Skyrim, Oblivion, and Morrowind, like in full 4K HD, ground up visuals on Morrowind and Oblivion and Skyrim? I would be just so hyped. I don't even need Elder Scrolls 6 at that point. Just let me replay those stories. Then give me 6. Any other questions, though? Do you guys have any questions about how this functions? By the way, if you're wondering, yeah, it's still the same connector on the bottom of the Xbox, so you can still use all accessories.
So do they have, you said that you can't save games from the PS5, so if you get PS5 games, you can't save them to a hard drive, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do they have external hard drives that you can save them to?
Not yet. That's down the line. I actually already answered that. So later on, those will be available. So, I mean, that's the thing, though. Microsoft is being the least money hungry right now. I will hands down will tell you, like, this generation, you're getting the most bang for your buck out of Xbox and Game Pass. There are last-gen console games that you just don't have to pay for the upgrade on. And something like Forza looks probably like the prettiest next-gen game I've seen. Like right now, if I boot up Forza Horizon 4, it looks better than anything between both consoles. Which is crazy, but it's also Forza, and it's always been a very pretty game. Oh, it'd be really hard between Oblivion and Skyrim. I never beat Morrowind. Morrowind, I wasn't really into Elder Scrolls yet. Like, I tried it. I was like, meh. Oblivion, I tried, meh. Played Skyrim, loved Skyrim, went back, beat Oblivion and the Shivering Isles. Fallout is actually what got me into all of them. I started Fallout 3 while she was pregnant with our son, and that's how I got into that entire expanded universe. 5 terabyte external drive is over half full. Yes, that is. I agree with you, Don. But I will tell you this. So here's one other crazy thing. This is where I'm going to end it at because I got to go do something. PlayStation, my PS4 Pro always had larger saves, even if it wasn't like a 4K. The game data took up more space than what an Xbox. Always. Xbox was always very good about minimalistic storage utilization. They also run their updates a lot better. I can have an update that could triple the size on the station. That rarely happened on the Xbox. And my Xbox copy of it was always smaller. This gen, I noticed because I went to go upgrade my Fortnite. Fortnite is 10 gigabytes smaller on the PS5 than what it was on the PS4 Pro, yet looks better and runs better. Same thing with, what was it? What was I just recently downloaded? There was another one. Borderlands. Borderlands was smaller for the upgraded version on the PS5 than it was on my PS4 Pro, which is weird to me, but Sony's not great at file utilization or compression or any of that kind of stuff, whereas Microsoft makes Windows, so their expertise in that wheelhouse. Sony also, when they used to make laptops, had a lot of issues with updates and rootkits and stuff along those lines. So it's not too shocking to me to see that be a problem between the two consoles. And it's not because one looks better or anything. It's just literally Sony doesn't, they just draw like a blank when doing it. Yeah, and gameplay coming soon. Now that I can stream from my PlayStation. Streaming later on tonight, I'll probably be playing some Call of Duty, maybe Fortnite, I don't know. But kids, I will see you all later. I gotta go take an errand to the knee. Bye. I'll see you all later. Enjoy your afternoon.